I feel honored being here today to speak on this topic, preserving the underwater, the secure and sustainable use of the underwater. I consider this topic appropriate, particularly at this point when nations are making efforts to expand their blue economy, which involves sustainable exploitation of resources in the marine environment, including fisheries, hydrocarbons, as well as other activities like maritime transport, tourism, among others. The African Integrated Maritime Strategy recognizes that the underwater holds enormous resources crucial for advancing Africa's blue economy. But while harnessing the ocean economy, we must preserve and protect the environment. In this regard, the responsibility of securing Nigeria's maritime environment is statutorily vested on the Nigerian Navy. My remarks will therefore reflect on Nigerian Navy's perspectives as it relates to preserving the underwater resources for sustainable use and economic prosperity of our dear nation. Specifically, I will discuss our maritime area of interest, the shared responsibility to secure this maritime environment, and our efforts at combating threats in the maritime environment, as well as our future perspectives. Nigeria's maritime area of interest stretches beyond the 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone. We recognize that the Gulf of Guinea presents a heritage of shared responsibilities and mutual expectations. Consequently, our maritime area of interest encompasses our internal waters, the territorial sea, the exclusive economic zone, and the entire Gulf of Guinea. This vast maritime space constitutes the Nigerian Navy's operating environment. The area has enormous underwater resources and serves as a medium of seaborne trade, which accounts for over 85% of Nigeria's trade volume. It has a teeming aquatic species and a reservoir of non-living natural resources. The Gulf of Guinea is also among the most fertile hydrocarbon provinces in the world. Nigeria has over 36 billion barrels of crude oil reserves, and over 182 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves. These underwater resources account for a substantial percentage of our gross domestic product and foreign exchange earnings. Now, in line with the United Nations Conference on the Law of the Sea, about 60% of the oceans are outside the national jurisdictions, which implies shared responsibility for preserving and securing the underwater. The interconnectivity of the seas also compels collectivism in global strategies for enhanced maritime security in order to preserve underwater resources for safe and sustainable use. This is the reason why the African Integrated Maritime Strategy sought to foster increased wealth creation from Africa's seas by developing a thriving blue economy in an environmentally stable manner, while preserving underwater resources in a secured environment. Similarly, the vision of the ECOWAS, that is the Economic Community of West African States, Integrated Maritime Strategy, is a prosperous, safe, and peaceful ECOWAS maritime domain that will allow preservation of underwater resources for environmentally sustainable development and national prosperity. Both the ECOWAS and the Africa strategy ought to be driven by navies to satisfy the security component as a precursor to the attainment of the economic component. The recognition of this shared responsibility has been the impetus for various collaborative efforts to address maritime security in Nigeria and the